What if Future Gohan survived? Since Future Gohan had one of the most tragic deaths in the series, and sadly the future timeline is the actual timeline.
A few inches later.
But we're gonna save him today and did not die against the androids. I'll be starting a new series. What if Future Gohan survived? The story will be starting in the age 780, which was the time. It was 13 years after the Z Fighters died from the hands of the androids, and Future Gohan is the last hope with a 14-year-old future Trunks. We'll be starting the story where Trunks is knocked down unconscious, and Future Gohan with one arm goes down to the battlefield to challenge the fearsome duo of Android 17 and 18.
Eventually.
So Future Gohan finally gets to the battle, and he's going to fight 17 and 18. He decides to go at 17 first and decides to fight them, but then 18 decides to join the fun, and it results to Gohan having to fight both of them at once. This is very serious for Gohan because having to fight both of them will give him a lot more trouble, and he will be have a lot more trouble, and he has a higher chance of dying because he's basically one-armed. He only has one arm. But we're gonna change the story with a little bit where Future Trunks, who is now on the ground, he finally wakes up. He wakes up earlier than expected, where Gohan does not die. Future Trunks flies to the battlefield where he sees Gohan and both androids fighting each other to the death. But then Gohan turns around and sees Trunks behind him and tells Trunks to go hide and get away. But Trunks wants to try to get into the fight, so he decides to just get into the fight. But then Gohan decides to distract the androids by throwing a bunch of ki blasts at the androids, and then just gets away. Since they cannot sense any ki, they have a harder time of sensing where Gohan was, and then they just fly away because they basically gave up. So Future Gohan flies back to Capsule Corp with Trunks, but Gohan is in serious pain after the beating that he took against the androids. So then Bulma has to take care of Gohan and puts him on a bed, while Trunks for the next couple days just sits around and does his own training by himself. Then finally, a couple days later, Gohan finally wakes up, and he finally realizes that he gets up and finally realizes that he is healed. But then they found a sensu bean that Trunks got. Gohan eats it and feels very recovered. Feels much more recovered than the last couple years since he started fighting the androids 13 years ago and to now. They decide to now think about what their decision is now. Should they go challenge the androids on again, or they should find an alternative approach, since the time machine finished quicker in this timeline because Bulma was much more focused. So they decided to do some training for the next 4 years and just let the androids just do their attacking. And Gohan doesn't die.
Many months later.
So it's been 4 years later. I know it's weird. You may think, oh, how come they're just gonna waste those 4 years? Well, they're training to become stronger.
I smell cat.
They now go back in time. They want to go back in time because the time machine has finally been ready. So they're gonna both go back in time 20 years into the past, and to help Goku and with the heart virus and etc. It will be basically Trunks. So they finally get to the timeline. It was when Frieza came back, and Goku is about to arrive back. He sees a very mysterious person, a mysterious man. So okay, basically Trunks basically pretty much does everything that happened in the anime, where he defeats Frieza, slices him in half. Trunks finds Goku and decides to have a word with him to talk about the antidote. This antidote is to heal Goku from the heart virus that happened in Trunks' timeline and back in the future. We're going to make it work, and now they go back in time again to see both the androids again. Trunks, before he said he was going to leave, he has to warn them about 2 androids that are going to attack near South City. So he wants to warn them so the Z Fighters will not, so the story will not go the same as it did in Trunks' future timeline. Gohan is still back in the future timeline waiting for Trunks so they can continue some little training by themselves. And then a couple months later, because they want to go back and find out how they've been doing, so Bulma decides to get ready, time machine ready, and there it is, etc. And Gohan and Trunks finally hop into the time machine because they're both able to fit into the time machine. That's a good thing. And they get to the timeline 20 years into the past, where they see two androids. They see one android head, which that android was android 19. They were like,
wow, you are just the Grand Central Station of disappointment, aren't you?
huh? Hey, Gohan. Yeah, Trunks? What is this head? I have never seen this. Could history be changed by this much? This is so mind-boggling. Trunks, maybe if you didn't go back in time, this may have not happened. But Gohan, this is the point. We needed to go back because we needed to warn them about the androids so everything wouldn't happen the same as it did in our timeline. So then they decide to fly over where they see Dr. Gero and they see Piccolo fighting each other. And they see finally Dr. Gero getting his arm ripped by Piccolo. They were really surprised that they didn't see androids 17 and 18. That could have meant that Trunks was like, wait, Gohan, could it mean that 17 and 18 have not been released yet? So this is Dr. Gero. Yes, this is Trunks. He must have probably turned himself into an android just to have eternal life. That's probably it. There was no way that could be Dr. Gero. And then they let Dr. Gero escape. They found out that it was actually Dr. Gero from Bulma. The whole gang were surprised. That's Dr. Gero? You mean the scientist that makes the androids? I thought he turned himself into an android, the part of the Red Ribbon Army. Bulma said that there was she knows where the lab is. She says that the lab was near the mountains.
You f***ing failed!
She says that the mountains is where Dr. Gero's lab is, which is near North City. Vegeta was very furious and yelled at Bulma and decided to just go after and chase after Dr. Gero. The rest of the gang decided to stay back. Dr. Gero finally gets to his lab and he lets out androids 17 and 18. A huge mistake that they should have not let. Androids 17 and 18 get out of their hatches and they blow up both Dr. Gero. Android 18 decided to think that we should go find Goku. But Goku was still at home because he's still gonna get the heart virus, but he'll be fine because he has the antidote. Vegeta finally finds the 3 androids near the lab, and he wants to challenge them, all 3 of them at once, but Android 18 thinks that he cannot do it, so she just steps forward and decides to fight the Saiyan Prince. The fight starts off really well, having Vegeta with the upper hand, but then Android 18 revealed that she was toying with Vegeta, and Vegeta was really angry and got super furious and decided to throw punches, but his punches started missing because he was getting tired. Piccolo realized that the androids have unlimited energy. Tien, Yamcha, and Krillin were shocked. They couldn't believe it, that the fact that Piccolo said that, and now they're worried that Vegeta could actually die. Trunks was furious and angry. He wanted to run at Vegeta so badly, but Gohan tells Trunks not to because it's not a very good idea. Trunks still wants to do it, but then Piccolo sees Trunks and says that don't try to help Vegeta. He put this upon himself. All we have to do is just let him get his misery, honestly. Because this is a battle that we cannot win. We're going to have to retreat and train harder if we want to challenge with these androids. Vegeta is now laid on the ground because he got his arm broken. He screams in fear because he finally got a humiliating defeat by the hands of an android. After everything happened, Trunks decides to walk over to the gang, and then they see the future Gohan. Piccolo recognizes Gohan real quickly, and Gohan decides he nearly breaks down, only shedding 1 or 2 tears because one of his first teachers in his life died in his time. Piccolo put his hand on Gohan and said, "I'm sure you tried your best." Remember what I taught you and what your father told you. Gohan listened and became real serious and said, yes, Piccolo, I will. I tried my best. But then Gohan decides to ask Trunks something. Hey Trunks, let me ask you this question. Do you think that if history be messed up if I ask Piccolo something? Trunks said, no, go right ahead. I mean, I defeated Frieza and I gave Goku the antidote. So but it seems that these two androids are in front of us. Future Gohan decides to walk over to Piccolo and asks him if he can use the Earth's Dragon Balls. Piccolo was a little surprised but said sure, but then when he noticed that Gohan doesn't have a left arm, he said, yes, I think you need to, I think if that's gonna be your wish, I hope you do, because man, that looks kind of weird on you, but also badass as well.
No cap!
Thanks, Piccolo. Androids 17 and 18 decide to just walk away, but then they walk right over to Krillin when they notice that Krillin probably said something. They walk over to Krillin, but they said that they're not going to defeat him. All they want is to fight Goku. Future Gohan was in real disbelief. He was very angry and furious. He noticed that the androids are stronger than the androids in the future. He wanted to challenge them, but Trunks says no. To continue the story, Future Gohan and Trunks decide to walk over to the gang and introduces each other. Tien and Yamcha were really surprised to see that was going to be Gohan in the future, but they were also very devastated and they were very disappointed that they were beaten so easy in their time. Meanwhile, they have Gohan and Piccolo. They decide to go up to Kami's lookout at the Hyperbolic Time Chamber, or you want to call it the Room of Spirit and Time, whatever you want to call it. And they release the dragon. They release Shinron at the lookout. Future Gohan decides to ask for his arm back. Shinron says that wish could be done, and they do. And Future Gohan now has his arm back. But Piccolo then realized after they finished doing that, he realized that Gohan wasn't that strong as he expected. The Future Gohan was a little surprised, but that's true. So then Piccolo decides to think of an offer for Gohan. Piccolo decides to fuse with Kami, and now he's strong enough. He's probably stronger than the androids, so now he can challenge them all. But then he asks Gohan and Future Gohan and Trunks if they want to use the Room of Spirit of Time. They said, what is that? Piccolo explained that the Room of Spirit of Time, or the Hyperbolic Time Chamber, is a room where 1 day outside in the outer world is 1 year in the Hyperbolic Time Chamber. They were really shocked and they thought that, really? I can get a lot of training and I can probably get stronger and I can fight these androids myself. Well, if that's the case, then why don't we do it? So then Gohan goes with Trunks because Trunks just recently came. He flew up. All the Z fighters went up to Kami's lookout to see what Gohan and Piccolo were doing because they saw Shinron getting released. But the problem was that he didn't believe that he was strong enough to beat the androids. So then Piccolo told everybody that they should use the Hyperbolic Time Chamber. Piccolo decided to make a plan to beat these androids. He says that Future Gohan and Trunks should be going into Hyperbolic Time Chamber first so they can get the training, while everyone else can just stay out and just wait. But then the best thing happened. Gohan and Goku finally recovered from the heart virus, and he has Gohan with him and teleports to the Hyperbolic Time Chamber where everybody is. Goku then says hello to everybody with Gohan, but then Goku walks towards Future Gohan and sees that that's the future version of him. He was very proud of his son. He said, "Hi Gohan, how you doing? How's the future been doing for you? I can't believe that you're the future version of my son. So this is what you look like in the future. I'm proud of you, my son. But I'm sorry that things didn't go your way in the timeline. But I'm just happy that you're alive, so that's a good thing." And where's Trunks? Future Gohan said that Trunks is actually Future Trunks is actually behind him. He's just talking with the other Z fighters. They decided to do first Future Gohan and Future Trunks, followed by Goku and Gohan, and then there'll be Vegeta alone, because Vegeta's an alone person and thinks about his pride a lot. Future Gohan only said, Dad, I just want to say that I just don't know, like, how can I get stronger? Like, I just have to always be, I have to be the savior. I just always wanted to be like you, be a hero. Goku just said that, Gohan, don't think that you failed. You tried your best and that's all it matters. You're doing everything you can. I can believe in you. You can do it, son. Everybody then leaves. Kami decides to agree to fuse with Piccolo, but except they're gonna keep Piccolo's body. But then Kami then decided to say this one thing that's been keeping him very, very uneasy and with a big sick in his stomach. He has been hearing about this bio-android named Imperfect Cell. This is an android with everybody's cell. He is known as Cell. He has the cells of you, Gohan, Goku, Vegeta, pretty much the cells of everyone, even Frieza. Piccolo was very surprised, but he wanted to challenge him, so that he fuses with Kami, and now we have Piccolo. We now have the unnamed Namekian. And now we pretty much, for the first part of the story, if you enjoyed this video,